Adesso facciamo sui 9 panini di cotta.
18 euro.
Bravo. Allora.
Thinking that they are somehow always superior to animal-based products and that having raw dairy or raw cheese or any red meat is going to, be inherently unhealthy is just falling into this tribalism, dichotomous thinking that if it's derived from an animal, it must be bad. If it's plant-based, it must be healthy.
생선과 가금류는 허용을 하지만 치즈와 붉은 고기는 mTOR를 액티베이션 시키니까 조금만 먹고요. 사르데냐 지방이나 이런 블루존들 다 마찬가지예요. 섬 지역이 많고 척박하고 그리고 자연 항구가 아닌 경우가 많아서 이런 제주도식 이런 식사를 한 거예요. 그 결과로 사람들이 장수를 할 수 있었던 거라고 생각을 하시면 됩니다.
We're going to talk about a paper titled Sardinian Dietary Analysis for Longevity, a review of the literature. So, Sardinia is in Italy, and it turns out that men of Sardinia live exceptionally long compared to men in other parts of the world. Well, you would think that based upon all the reporting, the sensational reporting of blue zones and the Seventh-day Adventists and all these things, that these men eat a plant-based diet primarily, but it turns out that these individuals eat a diet rich in animal products, and that was exemplified or characterized in various different studies or analysis, particularly this one right here that I just mentioned that was published in the Journal of Ethnic Foods in 2022. So ancient Sardinian foods include roasted lamb intestine, horse steak, pigeon, sea urchin roe, as well as botarga, which is a traditional Sardinian food product made by salting and drying the ovaries of mullet fish. Botarga is different from most other fish roe products, given that this roe is directly cured inside the ovaries as opposed to being extracted first. So it's important to acknowledge that these men and also women of Sardinia actually eat a lot of animal-based products. And if you just Google image foods that people in Sardinia eat, you will see plates of yogurt, cheese, raw dairy, various other animal-based food products. It turns out that they rely heavily on the consumption of dairy products, particularly goat and sheep milk, as well as other dairy products. People of Sardinia eat a lot of snails, and so this is considered a famine food since the Paleolithic era in the Mediterranean regions. The consumption of snails may help prevent mineral deficiencies, blindness, osteoporosis, and so forth. So,
Sardinia has an unusually high number of people who live to be more than 100 years old. Scientists have highlighted the Barbagia region in particular as being associated with a very long lifespan. The traditional diet of the Barbagia region is known to consist of meat and cheese. Suckling pig is a particular favorite. In 2011, Sardinians called for formal recognition of their diet, insisting that the secret to a long life can be found in their traditional diet of lamb, roast piglet, milk, and cheese.
I'm not so sure that a Mediterranean diet is predominantly plant-based like we're always told it is. So I came to Greece. I'm here in the Mediterranean, and I'm going to talk to people here. Mediterranean diets are not plant-based. I'm on the island of Mykonos, and I visited multiple butchers here. This one has been in the Stavrakopoulos family since 1968. I talked to the owner of this butcher shop and the butchers here in Mykonos, the other butcher shop, and what do they tell me? They tell me they've always eaten meat here. They love meat, they eat red meat. Mediterranean diets definitely include meat and red meat. Come on. So it's interesting. So it's interesting for me to come to Greece. I'm from the States, and to see that there's been butchers here for 70 years on Mykonos, on this island. And because in the States we hear about this Mediterranean diet, and no one knows that in Greece red meat is eaten.
We used to eat meat. Yes, we eat a lot of meat. In Greece we eat a lot of meat.
You eat a lot of meat in Greece. Exactly.
It's not so expensive as in the States, but we eat a lot of meat.
Okay. Throughout the world, there are a lot of places where people have been told that they don't eat a lot of meat, where people live a long time, like blue zones. But when you actually go to those places, they eat a lot of meat.
We eat a lot of meat and we live, many years.
Exactly.
We used to eat a lot of meat, many years ago. So now the things are a little bit changed, Everybody wants to eat something to be fit.
Right.
If we talk about Mykonos 60 years ago, we didn't have enough enough food, you know, to to be okay over here, because it's a place that we cannot produce things like vegetables or things like that, because everything here is a rock.
Right.
So that's why, and we used to have problem also many years ago with the water. So everything was difficult here. That's why we used to eat a lot of meat. We didn't have, you know, we didn't have another way to live. It was fish and meat. That's it.
People healthy or unhealthy then?
Of course they were healthy.
If it's derived from an animal, it must be bad. If it's plant-based, it must be healthy. That dichotomous thinking, we saw that throughout the COVID pandemic. Everyone needs to mask or you're going to kill grandma. These are the problems in present-day modern culture, where we get into this tribalistic mentality, and this dichotomous thinking really leads us to make poor decisions. That there is ample evidence to show that even in blue zones, where people live exceptionally longer than the average American, they eat a lot of raw dairy, fermented grain type products, different types of fish products, lamb, pork, you name it. So I think it's important to acknowledge that, you know, perhaps you can include these foods in your diet.
그러면 닥터3는 다음에도 더 나은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 제 영상이 마음에 드셨다면 좋아요, 구독 꼭 눌러주십시오. 닥터3는 여러분의 건강을 응원합니다.